Hello, everyone. Welcome to Yesshift. I'm Steven Schinder, one of the hosts, and this is another installment of a little sub-series I've started doing recently on here called Steven's Final Adventures. It's exactly what it sounds like. I recently acquired a record player and have been gradually going through the vinyl records that I've obtained slash been given over the last however many years, a couple, a few, whatever. So last time I did one of these was actually in the middle of the recent news episode where I talked about the Jazz Sabbath records, and there's a comment from Henry Potts on there actually, who let me know that the names as I was reading them in that some of them sounded made up, and so he mentioned that most of them are made up, and that Dylan Howe played drums on the Volume 2 Jazz Sabbath record. So, yeah, I wasn't sure if Dylan was on one of those records or just in that promo video we saw a while back. So, there you go. So, this time around, so I put up a poll a week or so ago, maybe 2 weeks ago, actually, of what should the next thing I listen to on the record player be for me to talk about. And it ended up being a tie between Emerson, Lake, and Palmer singles and the Caligula's Horse album Charcoal Grace. So I ended up flipping a coin, and what ended up winning out was Emerson, Lake, and Palmer singles. And it's kind of fitting because the Jazz Sabbath albums, they feel like it's part of the conceit, making it sound like those are from the late 60s, and so from the Emerson, Lake, and Palmer stuff you get 1970 onward and going up to the 90s. So this includes 45s. This was the first time I adjusted the setting on my record player from 33 or 33 and a half or whatever to 45 so I could play these. This box set came out in 2022. Dad and I were sent this, so we each got one. I'll do a little rotate there. So you got the band name on the side, the Manticore logo and BMG branding. I know it's kind of shiny because of the lighting. Got symbols, ELP logo, and I quite like how when depending on where you move the top of this box set, you get kind of a spectrum rainbow car thing. I think it's coming up on the video if you're watching the video. I gotta remember to share this around. But yeah, so the contents of this, first off, I don't even remember if these are in here in the same order that they came in, but they're these square. I don't know what these are made of. They feel kind of like postcards, and they each have the artwork of each of these different singles. And, Emerson, Lake, and Palmer, of course. Do I need to explain Emerson, Lake, and Palmer? I mean, there's lots of overlap in Yes and ELP fandom, so do I even need to explain who they are? They're one of the biggest prog rock bands. Such a powerful trio. And Dad and I actually interviewed Keith's son, Aaron Emerson, a couple times on the show. And we had the band he's in, Holiday on Saturn, perform over for the Drum Talk TV Brilliance membership site. And I saw a couple posts recently from Aaron and his wife Jo, who has also been on the show, about Gyratory All Stars performances. Another band that Aaron is part of. Let me just type this real quick. Okay. So I'll go ahead and take out these bits of art, and I guess I'll show them to the camera. And going through these singles it didn't take as long as I expected that it would take. I reminded myself, oh, these singles are okay. So there's Lucky Man and there's Tarkus. Yeah, I got the lettering there. It's really cool. Um, it looks better in person. I feel like the webcam doesn't really do it justice. You got from the beginning, it's got nice light blue there. So listening to all these singles actually end up taking less than 2 hours. For some reason, I thought it would take me a while to get through all of them. Um, this is the Jerusalem. Got sort of a pop art thing going on there with a couple of these. Um, Quite like the contrast between the light blue and sort of raspberry red. Sorry, I feel like I'm alternating between different conversations as I go through this. Oh, this looks incredible. Got the black and yellow on this one, and yeah. Hallowed be thy name, Sist Levi. Yeah, these are so incredible. Oh, okay. The webcam does capture that one pretty well from that angle. You got the black and gray. It looks really cool. So yeah, I thought it would take me like maybe a week to get through all of these singles on my record player, but again, they're singles, so they're short, and it wasn't much of a hassle flipping back and forth between the sides and between the different singles. So I was actually able to do that while getting through some work that I was doing on my computer, getting some work done and having those playing while doing work. The Tiger in the Spotlight has. Oh, I guess Tiger in the Spotlight having these stripes makes sense. I quite like that. Let's see. I believe in Father Christmas, of course, has white, red, and a little bit of green as Christmas colors. And he got, Emerson, Lake and Palmer in their Love Beach pose with the band name sort of in the background where the background of that album would normally be. Let's see. Oh, I see a comment from Robert Nasir. Let me see. Okay. Seeing Yes with special guests, the Carl Palmer experience, and Carl playing with Asia was pretty damn awesome. I admit I'm a bit of a pop radio ELP fan, so seeing this release of singles works well for me. Thanks for showing the collection. All right. Yeah. Thanks for tuning in. And yeah, I've seen Carl Palmer perform with Asia. So, first off, I guess I should provide a little background for anyone who might not know. I was into Yes basically since I was very little. And then about 2007, dad gave me the DVD of Asia Fantasia Live in Tokyo. So that would have been about 2007. And that was when I realized, oh, I guess I can get into bands apart from Yes. And it helped that, Steve Howe and Jeff Downs were in there. So there were Yes connections. Here's a Black Moon art. And then about a year or so later in 2008, I thought to myself, you know what? I'm going to check out some other prog bands. Oh, here's the art for Affairs of the Heart. Has a horse, which is kind of appropriate given that it was between this and Caligula's Horse I was choosing. That Caligula's Horse album, Charcoal Grace, will probably be the next one that I talk about, unless something else comes up. But so in getting into prog rock bands, I started off with, okay, I'll start with the connections between, spanning from these Asia members. So John Wetton was in King Crimson, and I know Bill Bruford was in that too. And so is this Greg Lake fellow, who's also in Emerson, Lake and Palmer. So I checked out King Crimson, the first couple albums, and then I checked out Emerson, Lake and Palmer. And right from the first track, The Barbarian, I was just, it's a dark, moody instrumental. I was just hooked right from the go. And from that first track to the final one on there, Lucky Man, I was like, okay, this is a band I need to get into. And I really fell in love with it. Um, and so went through the discography, and in 2009 when Yes toured with Asia, I got to see Carl Palmer perform with them there. And then I saw him again on the 10 years later on the Royal Affair tour. He had his band Carl Palmer's ELP Legacy, and he also had, he was also with Asia. It was four bands, those two, Yes, and John Lodge of the Moody Blues. So that was a cool performance. And, there have been recent changes with the Asia lineup. Carl Palmer is committed to the ELP Legacy, his band, and they have a few shows that are happening with John Anderson and the Band Geeks, which is interesting. So since he's busy, Jeff Downs got a lineup for this upcoming Asia Heat of the Moment tour. The 40th anniversary tour, which would have had Carl had kept getting postponed, but so this is finally happening, and we're actually having Harry Whitley and John Mitchell of that lineup on our show on June 25th, 9 a.m. Pacific, noon Eastern, 5 p.m. UK time. And Virgil Donati is on drums in that lineup. But yeah, we're having Harry and John on the show, and that'll be lots of fun. Let's see. Okay, and this box set also has this booklet, which has a nice essay by Sid Smith about the singles. You got quotes here and some nice photos. I'll just flip through it real quick. So yeah, the webcam does not do much justice. It's definitely more vibrant in person. That's a nice photo of the lineup right there. All right, so now the singles. So the first one is Lucky Man. So that's the front cover and the back side. So it's Lucky Man and Knife Edge. And I think a couple of these, on the ones that I have this, I remember looking into like what this is, this sort of thing that happens where there's kind of a dark discoloration, but it doesn't seem like it affected the sound at all. I think it's, I remember reading like what that's all about, and apparently it's not too uncommon, and so it wasn't really anything to worry about. But yeah, it's got the gold Lucky Man. Knife's Edge is the B side. It was kind of strange starting with Lucky Man because I'm so used to thinking of that as a final song because it was a final song on the first album. But yeah, it began with Lucky Man and then Knife's Edge. Funny enough, I've been delving deeper into Mandoki Soulmates. On one of these Steven's Vinyl Adventure things, one of the records I talked about was the new one from Mandoki Soulmates, which is called A Memory of Our Future, and it's absolutely brilliant. And I came to find out that they've performed Lucky Man with Greg Lake back in 2013. So, and it's a really great performance. If you can look at that video. This is Tarkus. I should also mention the booklet with the essays also has the origins of where some of these singles were released. So it would say original from Japan, original from Portugal, Portugal rather. Sorry, this Tarkus sleeve has the lyrics on the back. So this is Stone of Years, which is part of Tarkus. I also got side 2, Time and Place. And it's so strange trying to get a little bit of, trying to get a single out of this thing that you think of as a grand piece. And then it's like all of a sudden, oh, it's over. With these singles, I kept getting taken off guard with how short they were. Yeah, like just, and yeah, I don't know. It's just a thing to get used to. Oh, I see the Prague corner is tuning in. Hi. Yeah, and like I don't know if these are still available. Like I definitely recommend getting these because these are a visually pleasing collection to look at and also to play, as I've come to experience firsthand finally. So I'm trying to figure out the best way to set each of these singles aside so that they're still in the same order as I'm taking them out. Okay, I think I figured out a system. All right. So continuing, let's see, from the beginning. That's the name of the next one. And did I show the single itself for Stone of Years, Time and Place is orange here, and I like the complementary colors, orange and blue, right there. Yeah. Okay, so this next one is From the Beginning. We got the nice light blue and the bird right there. So that's a front. You also got the Manticore. That's a back. So you got From the Beginning and Living Sin. And this is a clear, lightish blue. These things always remind me of candy, and it's like I almost want to bite into them, but I have to remember, oh, it's not candy. And I guess, some candy you don't really bite into like that. You kind of just like wait for it to melt. But yeah, I really appreciate the variation in the color aesthetics for these. It's a whole lot of fun. And because if they were just all the same color, that would be a bit lackluster. It's really nice to have variety here. All right, the next one is it has Jerusalem and When the Apple Blossoms Bloom in the Windmills of Your Mind, I'll Be Your Valentine. That's a really long title there. And I couldn't remember if I'd ever heard that song. Like I know I listened to at least most of the Emerson, Lake and Palmer songs way back when, but if I listened to that one, that instrumental, that's the B side, then I must have forgotten it a bit. I quite like how on this you got the band members all in the letters ELP. I think that's very creative, and it's red, so it matches that sort of Apple aesthetic. Here they are on the back, which is light blue, and they're in black and white. And the record itself is red, and again, it kind of reminds me of candy and a little bit like a frisbee as well, I suppose. Although, of course, I'm not throwing these anywhere, like not a damn chance. I want these to be as intact as possible because they are so good. But yeah, when the Apple, etc., was a bit of a surprise. Some of these songs I've basically committed to memory, but that was one where it was like experiencing it either for the first time or re-experiencing it for the first time in a while, because I really couldn't remember. All right, now Brain Salad Surgery. Yeah, I really like the color palette there, black and yellow. And on the back, you have the I suppose those are the lyrics, but they would need to be translate it. But if you are an ELP fan, then like I suppose you'd already know the lyrics. So this is Fanfare for the Common Man and Brain Salad Surgery. So getting into the works era. Now, Fanfare is really well known. Like even if you're a surface level ELP fan, you know they've played that. But the Brain Salad Surgery track did not appear on the Brain Salad Surgery album. It was sort of left on the, it was shelved, and then it was brought back for one of the works albums, volume 1, volume 2. Can't remember off the top of my head which volume it was, but it eventually saw the light of day, and it's decent, but I can kind of see why they shelved it in favor of the other songs that ended up on Brain Salad Surgery. So this record is sort of I guess it's like a mustardy or cheesy yellow. The center has a circle with half black, half red. And, again, like I really dig how each of these look. Sorry, just got a... Okay. And Dad has also interviewed Carl Palmer over on Drum Talk TV. Got to talk to him before Dad interviewed him, talked to him online, and he's a really nice guy and really takes good care of himself. All right, this next one is Hallowed Be Thy Name. Yeah, I really like the layout of these black and white photos on the cover. And you have Sieste La Vie on the B side. The back side of this sleeve is kind of emptier than some of the others I've shown. And this one is gray, and again it has those I don't really know like what those things are called, where it kind of looks like a slight discolored crack type thing, but these played really well. There were some of these there were some instances when listening to a few of these where I felt like I had to adjust the volume on my record player, because some songs would be quiet for a bit and then loud for another. And it's like I don't think I experienced much of that with my previous vinyl listens I've talked about. And here you have, let's see, Brain Salad Surgery. Wait. Yeah, sorry, I'm just like reading this. Yeah, okay, I just noticed something that I don't think I noticed before, or if I did, I forgot. But on this one, yeah, and this is a clear looking one. It's got Brain Salad Surgery on side A, Still You Turn Me On side B. There's almost like if you look closely in this bit, where I'm pointing in the video, there is, looks like it's written serial number, BMG, and then the number. I wonder if it's like that with all of these. That's kind of a neat detail there. But yeah, we got the Brain Salad Surgery art, and yeah. Let's see. Oh, John C. tuning in from YouTube says there should be an ELP singles compilation. Okay, you mean like on CD? Like maybe something compact that has some of the singles or all of the singles? Like, I guess there might be a market for that. Something I was thinking about was, first I'll show this. Tiger in the Spotlight and So Far to Fall. It's a nice colored photo of the band. You got the red, blue, black. And backside, you got the works covers. This one is a different shade of blue from the other ones I showed earlier. Yeah, it looks really nice. It reminds me of paint, that shade of blue. But something I was asking myself was, is this collection of, the singles collection, is it more geared toward, like, who's the target audience basically? Is it for people who want to get into ELP and kind of need to start with shorter songs to get a good feel of what they're like? Or is it more for the diehard fans who, the ones who are already familiar and the collectors and such? And I think it's the latter because it might be a big ask for someone just getting into ELP to buy this whole collection. But I do wonder, like, if someone who already has that collection were to play it to a newcomer, like, would this sell them on the Banda? I think it would. Okay, and John C says CD and or on vinyl. Okay, and yeah, it seems to agree with my assessment there. That's more for the people already really familiar with ELP. I believe in Father Christmas. Really dig how it's got the holiday color theme. This one kind of took me off guard because for much of these, let me show the disc. It's white, it's got red in the center. Much of these are basically one track on one side and one track on the other side. But this one surprised me because it got to the end of, well, first off, I believe in Father Christmas. The version here is different from what I'm used to. I'm used to how it sounds in the music video. And the backing vocals sound really good on here as well. But I'm so used to the music video version that has the bombastic climactic ending. So this was quite different. But yeah, side A not only has that, but also Jerusalem. So I was kind of taken off guard, like, whoa, there are two songs on this side. But hey, if they could fit it, then yeah. And then side B has that instrumental again, when the apple blossoms bloom in the windmills of your mind, I'll be your Valentine. So yeah, this one was quite a surprise. Then we get to the Love Beach era, the end of their 70s run. This one has Canario and All I Want Is You. Got the Love Beach art there, and on the back you see the covers of that and works, as well as the live album Welcome Back My Friends, His Show That Never Ends, Ladies and Gentlemen, Emerson, Lake and Palmer. I remember listening to the CD of that with Dad on a couple trips way back when. And yeah, they also list the discography, the other albums. And this one is red, but it's not the clearish, candy-looking red. All right, so now we get out of the 70s and into the 90s. Of course, E.L. Powell happened in between, but this is Emerson, Lake and Palmer here. Nothing from their final album, In the Hot Seat. So I wonder, like, did that album have a single, or like what happened there? Maybe it's something I could look up real quick. I'm just typing that up, and yeah, I'll go ahead and show this. But yeah, you got the Black Moon art here. It's got two versions of Black Moon. Side A has, I guess, a single version, and side B has the album version, as they specify here on the back. This is purplish. It kind of matches the top bar of this Yesshift video player. Yeah, and then we got one more here. And it's one with the horse on it. from the, I guess it's from the merry-go-round. So this is Affairs of the Heart, and the B-side is Better Days. So got the nice horse artwork there, and the ELP logo on the back. And this one is a dark green, which is a color I associate with the band, because I think the first album has some dark green on it. Yeah, it's so the webcam makes it look a little fuzzy there. All right, so I was Googling in the hot seat. Let's see, is there a single here? Yeah, I don't see anything about a single, so maybe there wasn't one for in the hot seat. Yeah, I don't think there was even a tour for that one. So, yeah. Okay, see another comment. John C asks, going to have Carl sign those when he opens for John. So I don't think he's at the show that I may possibly be going to. It would be cool though. If I were to see Carl perform again at some point, it would be cool to have him sign these. There's quite a lot of them though. I think it's about a dozen. Yeah, there's a dozen of these. And so at that point, it's like, what's the best way to carry these? Get the like get a bag or something. Like, I don't know. And this is the bottom of the box set. It's got the discography. Yeah, it's the covers of the singles on there and the contents. The track listing. Yeah, and it's just very pleasing to be able to put all these inside of this box and making sure they fit in an orderly fashion. So yeah, I'm glad I finally got around to listening to these. I kind of just had them for, they're basically just to have as collected and for aesthetic reasons, because they look really good. But what's the point of having this collection if you're not going to play them all? So I'm really glad I was able to play these. And yeah, like I said, Emerson, Lake and Palmer are one of my favorite bands, and they have such a huge legacy, huge impact on prog rock. It can't be understated. Okay, John C says no tour. They didn't do In the Hot Seat songs live in 97, 98 either. Okay. Yeah, I think In the Hot Seat is an album. I don't know if I've listened to the whole thing. I may have listened to a couple tracks. So I've been meaning to listen to it, but I don't know if I listened to the whole thing. So I might need to revisit that on my own time. So yeah, and the next Yesshift episode will be on the 20th. I think sometime in the morning. Dad and I are going to be talking about Anderson, Bruford, Wakeman Howe, that album, because it's its 35th anniversary. Kind of appropriate given that, Anderson, Bruford, Wakeman Howe, and Emerson, Lake and Palmer are both bands that basically use a band member's last names. So that'll be a lot of fun. Dad told me he listened to the CD during his drive home. And I've also I'm still making my way through the Yes Talk box set. I listened to the CD of the album, and today is actually the something I noticed later is the Spirit of Unicorn logo on this Talk box set's really cool. Something I noticed, something I remembered is today is the 30th anniversary of the first show of the Talk Tour, I believe the Binghamton show. And there is a bit of footage of that on YouTube. And tomorrow is the 30th anniversary of the second show on the Talk Tour, in Canandaigua, which is what a couple of these CDs on the box set are from. So I'm going to give those a listen tomorrow. And then I'll pretty much be all through this Talk box set. I do want to listen to the Talk album, this version and the older CD that I have, figure out a way to compare like whether they sound different, and if so, how different. So I got to figure out the best way to do that. And Dad, he'll be making his way through, and we'll figure out when to talk about that. So yeah, thanks for tuning in. And this whole vinyl listening hobby thing has been a really fun thing to do for me. There's something just so pleasing about being able to put the needle on the record and play it. And for some of you who've been doing that for a long time, it's probably like, well, yeah, duh. But, I'm almost 30. I didn't grow up on vinyl like some of y'all did. So to be able to do that and have a giant artwork and be able to experience that sort of thing, it's a real treat. But yeah, we'll post about, when we come on to talk about ABWH this Thursday. And so, yeah, thanks for tuning in, and see you all next time.